A Mother's Nightmare. Trinity Bay, Newfoundland and Labrador. Over the centuries, powerful North Atlantic storms have claimed the lives of many brave, hardworking maritimers. No one was more aware of this than Mary Crew, who lived in a small outport community on Trinity Bay in Newfoundland. She had nearly lost her husband, Reuben, in 1911 when the sealing ship he was on sank in the Gulf of the St. Lawrence. Sealing was dangerous work that involved leaving the safety of a ship to go out on the ice and hunt the animals that were such an important source of food, skins, and oil, and of the wages that were needed to buy supplies. After his brush with death, Crew had given up such work, and for that Mary was truly grateful. But in March 1914, her 16-year-old son Albert John announced that he'd been offered a job on the sealing ship in Newfoundland, and that he really wanted to take it. Not only could Mary not change his mind, but she also had to accept her husband's decision to go with him. She understood how much he wanted to try to protect Albert from the dangers he knew the young man might face. As she would later tell her daughter, Mary awoke suddenly one night to see her beloved husband and son kneeling beside her bed. Their heads were bowed in prayer and they appeared calm. But seeing them like this started Mary's heart pounding. Rupert and Albert John weren't home that night. They were out among the ice floes working off the Newfoundland, or so she thought. What happened to the Newfoundland sealers after the wooden ship became trapped in the ice on March 30th, 1914, is recorded in the reports of 3 hearings held to investigate the tragedy. The icy grip closing in on the ship, kilometers to another ship, the Stefano that had reported seeing seals, the blinding blizzard, the confusion and miscommunication. These and many other horrific icy details were included in the reports. So are the names of the 78 men who either drowned or froze to death during the most tragic sealing disaster in Newfoundland and Labrador's history. Rupert and Albert John's names are on that list. Their frozen bodies were found on the ice. They were holding onto each other as if to keep warm, and there was a look of calm on their faces. Ghosts on his mind, Canmore, Alberta. In 1994, Don Hill, musician, filmmaker, writer, and CBC radio host, was a haunted man. He was haunted by what he and his family had experienced while living in a house they had bought in Canmore, Alberta. The unexplained noises, the chilling sense of an invisible presence, the sudden overwhelming waves of fear, and the ghostly apparition of a glowing life-size shape, it was finally, in 1994, all too much for Hill and his family. He put the house up for sale, and they moved out as soon as it was sold. But Hill wasn't able to hit a mental delete button and get rid of the memories of the terrifying experiences. So he decided to try and find out why they had occurred. Over the next 4 years, Hill interviewed doctors, scientists, spiritual advisors in search of answers. One of the people he consulted was Dr. Michael Persinger, a professional of neuroscience, the study of the brain and how it works. At Laurentian University in Sudbury, Ontario, and after talking with Persinger by phone, he went to Sudbury to learn more about his work and to take part in one of the professor's experiments. In Persinger's brain science lab, a small soundproof chamber lit only by a single red light, Hill sat in a chair, eyes covered, with a tight-fitting electrically wired helmet on his head. Then he let his brain be stimulated by electromagnetic waves coming from a controlled flow of electricity through the wires in the helmet. Imagine his surprise and horror when, after several minutes, he saw an apparition that looked a lot like the ghost that had haunted his house in Canmore. But had the ghost followed him, or was it simply the product of unusual electrical activity in his brain? After years of research, Persinger thought that the second explanation was a possible answer to Hill's question. According to the neuroscientist's theory, electrical activity in the brain may also account for people's beliefs that they've seen aliens or angels. But if electromagnetic waves explain the reappearance of the ghost that haunted Hill's house in Canmore, what caused the unusual electrical brain activity in the first place? And not just in Hill's head, but in the heads of the rest of his family. These questions to which Hill never got answers.